Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a nice cup of coffee and your cappuccino. I'm drinking hot water and lemon. It's one of my favorites in the morning. Well, welcome to the Sherry Lord Talk Show every Tuesday at 10 a.m. We are so excited because we have a very special guest, and her name is Stacey McCann. And her topic today is mind keeping. So we enjoy giving people a platform for sharing their knowledge and gifts and to help people throughout the world. So we're so excited and happy to bring in Stacey. Welcome, Stacey. It's such a pleasure to get to know and meet you behind the scenes a little bit here.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Glad to be here.
We just want everyone to, what we're going to do is I'm going to say just a little bit of, I'm going to do a little introduction with her. Stacey is a Lumen and next generation human author, empath, and creator of Mindkeeping. She helps individuals free their mind of pain and struggle by evolving them into a higher consciousness called Lumen. Lumen consciousness moves you past your five senses and into your sixth sense, like upgrading from a 3G to a 5G network. On your phone, this connects the mind, body, and spirit as a network system, elevating every part of your stimulate. I'm getting having for fast lasting solutions of any of life's problems. And she's amazing. So welcome. Can you tell people a little bit about you and a little bit about your story, Stacey? I know people are wanting to know a little bit about you, and then we'll go right into your topic.
Sure, sure. In the beginning, I just kidding. um, I think we're all born this way. We're all empaths. We're all, spirit. So we're just born this way. However, some of us I think are a little bit more sensitive than others. I
Yeah.
was very sensitive as a child. I was very sensitive, but I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it
Yep.
was. So, I just kind of shoved it away because nobody wants to be the weird kid. Everybody wants to
Mm-hmm.
kind of fit in and everything.
Yep.
So it's a part of me that I just denied, even though there were so many signs and so many experiences that brought it to light. So, as I said, I put it away. I shoved it in the closet until about
Yep.
20 years later,
Exactly.
when
Exactly.
my youngest son was born. I had two other children. My youngest son was born, and he was diagnosed as borderline asthmatic.
Ooh.
Now, at the time, I had I had two children. I had a job. I had a husband that really wasn't there. He was really estranged, and it was just a struggle. And I thought I can't keep taking this kid to the doctor every week. It's just it's too much financially. It's too much to try to get off of work. It's just not that I didn't love him. It makes me sound like a bad parent, but I just felt there had to be another solution.
Hmm.
So I thought, well, if I put my hands on him with the intent to draw out the infection, it would work.
Ooh.
And it did. Every time I put my hands on him, by the next day, he was better. And the thing that made me, realize, hey, there's really something to this is the fact that he was only 6 months old. He was
Oh,
too
wow.
young to say, oh, yeah, this is a placebo. Or, yeah,
Mhm.
mommy, you helped me. He was much too young. I mean, there was a physiological change within him. So I knew that I was doing something.
Mhm.
So I started on my journey. So my journey from there was I lived in Arizona at the time. This is the late 80s and 90s, the kind of the hub of playground for anybody that's spiritual.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And, for approximately like the next 7 years, I just went
Oh.
anywhere and everywhere I could to gather information. I have been read, I have been bled, I have been, you know, to the mountaintops. I've been to shamans, to priests, to spiritual leaders, to people that do all sorts of modalities. I have tried, I think, pretty much most of what was at least available at the time, even as much as having my teeth read. There was someone I knew that read teeth. That's what she did.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So it was really interesting. And finally, one day I said, what am I doing? I don't feel that anybody's really giving me any more information. I just didn't feel like, I knew what I was doing. I wasn't any closer to how I had helped my son than I was when I helped my son. So
Okay.
I said, it made me think, well, what if there were no teachers? What if there were no books? What would we do if we couldn't gather any information? What if there was no Jesus or no Buddha or no Bhagavad Gita, no Bible? How would we know for ourselves what was physical from what was spiritual? So I put those books down. I never read another book. So if you ask me if I know an author, unfortunately, I'm kind of in the dark with some of that. But and I turned off the news after the OJ trial. Never watched the news again, really. But and I just self-reflected, and I started asking myself questions that I thought would take me closer to me and help me understand myself. And I realized that the more I asked the questions, the more information I had, and the more information I had, the more information I knew about others, and the more I was able to help others, and understanding how that whole network works. So, and that's how Mindkeeping was born. So, what we're doing is actually we're keeping our own mind, just like we would keep our house by housekeeping, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You keep your money by bookkeeping. You're keeping your mind by mind keeping. And what people don't always realize is that, first of all, our mind is a system. The second thing is imagine that just imagine that every thought you ever have, every feeling, every idea, everything anybody's ever said to you, every emotion, every, mental capacity, every experience that you had is like a piece of paper thrown on the floor of your mind. Now take that by 50 years. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff that clogs your mind. Okay. And it doesn't make you able to move forward in your life. You feel like you get stuck. You're just stuck in this place because you have so much crap in your mind, basically. So Mindkeeping helps you to sort through that. It helps you to, like a computer, take out the things that don't serve you anymore or that you don't need, that are antiquated, that don't help you, and it connects you to a higher network, so to speak. So it connects you really to your Lumen. So what Mindkeeping actually does for you is it takes you from being a human being, which is, you in the physical, using your five senses, touch, taste, smell, sight, feel, no, not feel, you know what they are. and moving beyond that into your non-physical senses or your lumen senses, which is your light. So, which brings you more into your intuition, your knowing, your trust, the real part of you, the actual authentic part of you. So that was very long-winded, but that was that's the dime store version of Mindkeeping.
I think it's wonderful because what I really gathered a lot about what you had said. But the other thing that was a big part of it is that what I hear you say is I asked myself questions. You went inward for that.
Absolutely.
I think that's huge because a lot of people, they forget. They're always looking. It's okay to go outside if you need that guidance, but to really go in, that we're intelligent beings here. We have our own answers. And I really liked how you hit upon that too. You hit upon many different areas, which were wonderful for people and sharing and how you got out there on your path, but really empowering yourself. But I really love when you said, ask yourself questions, because you'll get your own answers if you just stay still enough to listen and to feel what that is. And you have the power. And the other thing I liked about it is that you just had the idea to put your hands on them. That was intuitive and it worked. So we have this innate ability to know. And even if we don't know or ever been taught it or showed it in this physical life, we have lifetimes of the memories of this. And you did it, you just tapped right into it with a lot of leaders do, they create it. And I think this is huge. How has it, you share a lot how it helped you in life, but how has it helped others? Can you share some things about how it has helped some of your clients? And we just want to say thank you to Kathy Flaska Thorson, who is joining us, and she's saying hello to us. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay. Hi, Kathy. Yes, it's, well, I just want to just take one back pedal for a second. And that is, when you were saying about having that relationship for yourself, when I created Mindkeeping about 30 years ago, the big takeaway for me with that experience I had from going to other people was understanding the importance of, living by a philosophy. So I realized that for me, there, I had to have something that I could live by. I can't really
Yeah.
live by do unto others, because it's just, when you're a little kid and you're learning that, you can't really,
Yes, that.
experiences happen that you can't always, live by it. So
Right.
I created a philosophy that there is only one relationship, and that is the relationship with yourself. And all other relationships stem from that foundation. So if you have a good relationship with yourself, you're going to have a good relationship with others, or you're going to figure out how, what you need to do to course correct. If you have a good relationship with yourself, you'll have a good relationship with money. You'll have a good relationship with everything, because everything in life is a relationship. It's a relay of energy back and forth.
Yep.
So the more you know yourself, the better your relationships become, regardless of what they are. How this has helped my clients is it's really helped them in a number of ways. Number one, of course, have that relationship with themselves, because many times, most of us do not even have an identity anymore. We have lost our identity, or we never had one. And this becomes a problem. I'm going to be bold and say, take any woman, that's in her 30s to 40s that has a couple kids, at least from my generation. You don't live your life by what you want. You live your life by what you're taught, such as take care of the kids, take care of the husband, take care of the household and everything. You put everything before yourself. So you kind of lose yourself. You lose your identity. You lose what's fun for you, or what you may enjoy, or what is your passion. And by getting your identity back, you get your individuality back.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're an individual, then you have the confidence and the courage and the understanding to be able to know what you want, speak your mind, and create that in your life. It just makes your life so much happier. That's just one scenario.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. And we just want to ask anybody who's watching, please, chat with us or ask a question. And we're going to be doing that the last 5 to 10 minutes of the show. And we have a few that we'll be asking Stacey. Stacey, the other question, the other thing that I think people that are listening, it was fascinating how you helped your son by just the energy. And you had mentioned once, we had a conversation that you like to bring people on stage and you can put your hands on them and you can see the difference. Can you share some of those experiences so they can get a deeper understanding what the people experienced after they worked with you?
Well, everybody has a little bit of different experience. It depends on how sensitive you are. My more sensitive people actually feel a physiological change right there in the moment. So you feel a physiological shift. You feel different. And the way that most of my clients describe it is they feel different in a good way, but they can't really put their finger on it.
Yeah.
And the reason they can't put their finger on it is because they're not in touch with that part of themselves. So it's really their spirit. What I'm doing is expanding their spirit, or helping them expand their spirit. And they just love the way that feels, because it's so relaxing and it feels so good, and they feel so much lighter. And the really cool thing about Mindkeeping is it continues to grow. So when you leave me, or if you leave, a session with me or a class or something, it continues. It just keeps popping. It comes in snippets of inspiration, I have this joke with my students and clients that this big hand isn't going to come out of the sky and say, this is what you should do now. It doesn't work that way. But you will find your path in snippets of inspiration. In some ways, it's the aha moments. You get a lot of ahas, and even things so little as you can walk outside and say, well, I never realized that flower was so purple before.
Yeah.
I never realized how bright things were. It changes your senses, because your senses are enhancing. Everything is expanding, just like, another thing I say is, how many people are carrying around a flip phone anymore?
Mm-hmm.
They're not. Nobody's carrying a flip phone, right? And the reason is because they want the latest, the greatest, the best version of what they can do.
Yeah.
We're the same way, we're like little mini computers. So the thing is, why are you settling with a flip phone when you can be the latest version of whatever's out there? And because even just if you look at that analogy as your phone, look at how many more things you can do. You know, in my day, you were tethered. You know, you were tethered. You had a cord, and if you're really lucky, you had a 25-foot cord. You know, so and then you thought you were really happening, and then and then we kind of went to portable phones, and then we went to cell phones, and then we went to flip phones. And then, right. So we're evolving the same way, and it's just that you have to know how the system works, because it is our nature. You know, we're only in our bodies a short amount of time. You know, these are our little meat suits. These are our the roles that we're playing in the moment. What do we have? 80, 90 years, at best for the majority of people. And then when you pass on, you go back to your spirit. So the thing is, we should be focusing on our spirit, cultivating that relationship more than cultivating our physical relationships. We put the focus on the information that doesn't matter instead of the information that does matter.
Wow, that's really good information. We just want to say hello to Beth Perry, and she's joining us. We just ask everybody to kind of chat with us. If you have a question, please mark it down, and we'll ask a few towards the end. But what I want to say is that I think that's wonderful. But you also mentioned something. A lot of people are having a lot of pain in their body, it be in the bones or their legs. Or when you have been doing your work, have you noticed what's the cause of some of that? I mean, each person, it's different. But what's the underlying issues with that when people have certain pains?
Well, I do have a belief that all physical ailments have a non-physical origin. Okay. So nothing starts in the body. It all starts in the emotions or the thoughts, or even in their DNA. We could have brought it in, whatever the case is. So what I do, or what Mindkeeping does for you as well, is get to that origin, which no matter how you slice it, dice it, or cut it back, there's a lot of different roads that get to the same hub. The main hub is all about us feeling that we're worthy and deserving enough. And, there's a lot of guilt. We carry a lot of guilt around us with would, should, coulds. There's a lot of judgment. We judge ourselves, especially people who have addictive behavior. And it's a real interesting dynamic with those people, the people that have had that information, because first of all, they're probably the most sensitive people of all. They are so highly in tuned. And the problem is with people that are empathic or people that are highly sensitive is what happens is there's so much confusion. Life is just a ball of confusion, because you hear one message, but you're really receiving two messages. So you're receiving what you hear, and you're also receiving what you feel. And that's very, very confusing, especially when you're a child. Just for instance, your mom can walk into the room and just, snap at you because maybe she just got a phone call. She's having a bad day. It has nothing to do with you whatsoever. But you intuit that as mom doesn't like me, or mom's mad at me, or I'm not good enough, or whatever the case is. And you carry that through your whole life. So many times you feel like you're broken. You feel like you don't fit in. You feel that you're wrong. And then you keep blaming yourself for not knowing. Another cause of a lot of blame and guilt is people have been abused. Abused children have this underlying belief or feeling that they should have known better, or that they're wrong. And it's like they're not wrong and they should have known better. And, no matter, even if you knew the act was inappropriate when you're 5, 8, 10, 12 years old, you don't have the capacity to deal with it until you have an adult mind. So you can't blame yourself for not having the knowledge to be able to move through it. So, but unfortunately, all those years, people go through life blaming themselves, which just compounds all those pieces of paper on their mind. So if that helps give you some light.
Yeah, it does. It helps the listeners and the people who are watching because everybody has something, and they really have to look at it. And some people don't know where to go. They don't know what to look at. They just know they have this pain and it keeps coming back. It could be a hip pain. It could be anything. And it is caused from all these other levels, before it gets into the physical body. And I think this is good, but I feel that people can go inward, and I hear, like you're saying, they can heal that. They can literally go in and heal that. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and they don't need me. See, that's the whole thing, is they can do it themselves. I just figured out how to do it for me. I figured out how to do it for my son, and now it's like they can do it for themselves. I want people to learn how to do it for themselves. It's not hard. It is not difficult at all. It's so ridiculously simple that I even say in my class, you're going to at first doubt me that this is going to work because it's so simple. But they try it, and a week later they notice they're already noticing changes, and 2 weeks later there's real changes, and then a month later now they're coming back and they're having life changes. Their careers are changing, or their careers are taking off, or their relationships are better, or things that are bothering them. And it all comes down to understanding what system that you're working on. So I will say, all right, let's look at it like this. Your mind is a system, as I said in the beginning. And let's just make it simple. There's a human system and a Lumen system. So let's just equate that to like an Android system and an iOS system or Apple system. We'll just say it like that, okay, for simplicity.
Yep.
People that are empathic are really in tune with their Lumen system, their non-physical spirit system. We are on a human system, which is very physical, very linear. So once you know what system you're working on or what system you work better at, that's the system that you really kind of want to use. We need them both. Don't misunderstand. Both have their value. But the thing is, one takes you towards your goal and the other one takes you away from your goal. Okay. So as you learn the system and how to connect with the Lumen system, then you're always going closer to you. You're going closer to your happiness. You're going closer to your desires and your purpose. Your deepest desires and your deepest purpose.
Yeah, it feels like it's unraveling within them, to excel, who at a level they didn't even think that it was possible for them, and to actually live a healthy life, without all the pain and not knowing what's causing it. And it's always underlying levels. I always felt that, and believe in that. And I know there's DNA and there's other things, but a lot of it is things that you can change. You can change it all,
It is. And most times it's simple. I mean, there's some things that are just really, really simple to move on. And there's other things that you have to work out. It is,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just kind of have to keep working it. But if you know the system and you know how to do it, the process that I used, it's very simple. Just repeat the process. That's all you do. You repeat it, and eventually it goes. It's like digging a hole. Sometimes, sometimes there might be a little rock in there and you have to dig a little bit harder. And other times it's like, oh, that was very quick and that was very easy. So it's, it makes you feel better. And one thing I say is mind keeping brings you closer to God, whatever God is for you. Okay, everybody has a little bit of different interpretation of God, but whether that means peace, whether that means intuition, whether that means comfort, whether that means, understanding, wisdom, whatever it is, that brings you closer to that for you.
You also are an author, and you have a new book, in your book, your mind-keeping book. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bring it up. We might get a little block here, but you can keep talking. And we have your book up. And tell us a little bit about your book.
Thanks. My book is it's the process of evolving from human to Lumen. It's really, it's quite simple. It's like I said, the process that I used for me and my son. And it's a step-by-step guidebook on how to change your life. And it's very simple. I don't require that you have to sit in any kind of meditative state. For me personally, I cannot sit like a pretzel. It doesn't work for me. Part of how I came to this is that I'm always was so antsy meditation just made me irritable. So, I just kind of created my own form, which is just, sit, be comfortable. Don't worry about how you breathe. I don't care how you breathe because that doesn't matter in the moment. What matters is that you're following the process, which focuses on you, because this is about you. This is about you. It's about your life and enhancing everything in your life. Again, whether that's your relationships, whether that's your finances, whether that's your career goals, whether that's your health, whether it's you wanting to expand and go to the next level of understanding. If you're already seeking and meditation and yoga just aren't taking you to where you want to go, Mindkeeping is going to take you to a new place. It's going to take you to a whole new paradigm of you, a whole new understanding. And the more you practice it, the more wisdom you have, the more understanding you have, the more connected you are to the grid of everything that we are, because we know everything is connected. We don't always know. We know that intellectually.
Yes.
We don't always know that emotionally. So what Mindkeeping really does is it brings you to that experience on an emotional level. Intellectually, there's no doubt we all know what we need to do. Okay. If you're overeating, you need not to eat as much, right? If you're smoking, you probably shouldn't be smoking. We all know what we need to do. If you want to be, closer to meditating, you have to practice closer to spirit. You've got to meditate, or you got to focus on it. We know what we need to do intellectually, but what do we need to do emotionally to have that connection? Because once you move into that space emotionally, once you move into that emotional healing, no matter what it is, you're there. You're there. And that's the cool thing. Mm-hmm.
Wow, this has just been wonderful information. And when is your book going to be out? We know it's coming out. Do you have a kind of like a temporary, is there a date
Yes.
for that?
Yes. Well, we were initially set for September, but now we're moving it to November. But September, okay, we will start taking pre-orders for anybody if they're interested. Yeah. So, and for Beth, who just asked that, it will be available on Amazon.
Oh, how wonderful. No, it sounds so fascinating, and I'm sure people will get a lot out of it. And we have a question. Actually, okay. Beth Perry, who's watching us too, her question is, okay, how can Mindkeeping work with meditation?
Okay. So it enhances your meditation. So instead of you just thinking about nothing, it depends on which kind of meditation you are. I'm going to say, let's say that you're wanting to clear your mind and quiet your mind. Or let me give you a different analogy. The difference between Mindkeeping and meditation is meditation calms your mind. Mm-hmm. Mindkeeping changes your mind. Okay, let me explain that. If you're, I'll just use Beth. No offense, Beth. Just throwing you out there. Okay, so let's say Beth is angry. Let's say she's an angry person for whatever reason. I'm just going to throw that out there. And she knows that she's angry. She goes to meditation and she calms herself down, and that's really good because we want to calm ourselves. That's very healthy. It's good for everything about us. But she's nice and tranquil. She leaves her meditation class. Somebody cuts her off on the road, and there is, calm Beth who's angry, who's now angry Beth again. Okay, so she just goes back to where she was. She calmed her mind temporarily, but it didn't change who she is. It didn't change the anger that she felt. It just calmed it down and suppressed it for a while. With Mindkeeping, you literally change your mind. You change it from being angry Beth to finding out what the cause of it is. And you don't even have to know what the cause of it is, to be honest with you. Just, work it and it shifts it. But now instead of you being angry Beth, now you're calm Beth. And now you're calm Beth that goes in meditation. So now when you go to meditation and your nature is calm because your mind has changed, now you get so much more out of your meditation because now all that stuff is cleared out of the way.
Thank you so much for sharing. And we're so thankful to have you. And, how can people get a hold of you? I know we have your information scrolling down there, but if you can have something real quick you'd like to say?
Sure. Mindkeeping.com, just exactly how it's said, Mindkeeping.com, mindkeeping.com. You can find me there. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. If you're Florida, well, it doesn't matter where you are because I can talk to you anywhere. My phone number is 904-466-9223. That is 904-466-9223. Feel free to call if you have any questions, email, message me through my website, whatever it is. I'm glad to answer your questions.
We have another question from Kathy Thorsten. Please tell a bit more about your classes. I would have benefited greatly working with you as a young parent. I was conditioned to put others first and neglecting myself. I was believing it was selfish to put myself first.
Okay. The classes can definitely help you because it teaches you how to create those boundaries. So the whole process of this is to teach you about you and to teach you a process of asking yourself questions. So when you're mind keeping, again, the focus becomes on you, and it really comes about how you feel about any given thing at any given time. The process I use, or the technique I use, I call that I'm teaching you how to SOAR, which means set up, organize, analyze, and repair your mind. So through this little process, you learn to set up, organize, analyze, and repair your mind. And one of these things is, I would bet you, Kathy, that you're probably, by putting others first, there comes a time when eventually you start becoming resentful because it gets to be too much and you become bankrupt because there's nothing for you. What the classes can do for you is teach you how to create those boundaries, put yourself first, so that you have something to give to others. The other thing is also, so many times we don't stay in our own lane. So many times we just take on things that we think we should do because, oh, that's the role as a mom, or that's a role as a wife, or that's a role. I mean, I am the biggest offender. I mean, my husband, I mean, he didn't even buy his own shoes. He didn't buy his own shoes. He didn't get his own haircut. He didn't. I mean, I did everything. I did everything. It was so inappropriate for me, and but I didn't know that because I thought I was doing the right thing. You know, be a good girl, do what you're supposed to do, and now I don't do that anymore. I don't do any of that. Of course, I've been divorced for 25 years. That's another story. But you learn what makes you feel good and what makes you feel bad. Okay, one of the things is, as we were talking about working on an operating system, which system are you? Are you an Android, or are you an Apple, or iOS, whatever you call it? As you learn what system you're on, you learn how to work with your energy within that own system, which gives you the information you need to change it. Because the most important thing is, if you don't know how you feel, you don't have the power to change it. Once you know how you feel, then you have the power to change how you feel. And another thing is to not discard your feelings, whether it is pain. We did talk about pain. Your feelings are your direct connection to your Lumen mind, to your spirit, because this is telling you what's working for you and what's not working for you. Okay, these are your direct signals. Okay, if you want to say, some people say you talk to God. Okay, you talk to the universe, you talk to whatever. This is your direct signal. This is your direct line that's telling you, you know what? This doesn't feel good. I don't like this. This is making me irritable or resentful, or, even something on the flip side. I feel jealous. Okay, if you feel jealous, that's a negative emotion. You don't want to have that negative emotion. You want to know why it's there, or just shift it so it's not there. You don't need to have that. That just takes you away from yourself. All these energies take you away from yourself. And it just does. Yes, Beth, it is great with PTSD. This seems like it would be great with PTSD. Yes, I've worked with a lot of people with PTSD. It works really, really great. It is wonderful because everything in the universe is energy, and all energy has vibrations and frequencies. And the bottom line here, guys, mind keeping is all about you changing those frequencies of your energy from something that is negative or very low frequency, which causes you discomfort and pain, and the loop, a PTSD loop of replaying the same trauma over and over again, and it transmutes it into a higher vibration frequency so that you can change it. It's like changing a radio station. This is how simple it is.
Yep.
Okay. So it's simple, but it does take practice. I'll be honest with you. First you have to get used to it. It's a little bit, if you're already on your path and you're already seeking it, it's really pretty easy. If this is brand new to you, which a lot of my clients are, my clients are very mainstream. It's very like corporate America. They're not necessarily into energy or spirituality or anything like that. It takes a little bit longer, but not much. Maybe like a couple days a week, an extra class. I mean, it's really simple to pick up because it's very, very cut and dry. But it's effective. It's really, really effective. I'm not. I guess I should. I always make this joke. I'm not really that smart, but Mindkeeping has really made me a genius. I mean, I am a genius when it comes to working with energy. I mean, you definitely don't want me to change your tire or do your taxes or anything like that, because that would be a complete disaster. But if you want to change your life and you want to change your energy, I'm the person. I'm your go-to because I've done it. I've lived it. I live it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It's just been so wonderful having you, Stacey. And you can go ahead and share if there was anything else you'd like to say. And she wants, there's another question. Are your classes group or individual based? From Kathy Thorsten.
My classes are group, but I do see clients individually, mostly online. I was seeing them one-on-one in person, but I'm really trying to get away from that more and more. But yeah, I can see you anywhere. I have clients as far as South Africa, so it doesn't matter. Distance doesn't matter. You still get the effect. Okay, and you learn something. I'm a taskmaster. I'm a taskmaster, and I'm a Jersey girl. So at heart.
Absolutely. We so appreciate having you on our show, and we will be bringing you back. And also, we want to let everybody know, please share us on Facebook. We want to reach people throughout the world to share the information we're getting with our guest and with Stacey and everyone that's coming on with this knowledge to share and help change and shift the world together and helping people to empower themselves. I think it's wonderful. And if you need more information about Stacey, she's also on our website. And for upcoming guests, go to www.sherrylord.com, SHERRYLORD. And if you want to be a guest on our show, you go to the website. You go to the same website, click on Podcast with Sherry Lord. The instructions are there. If you want to be a guest on our show and share your knowledge and wisdom that helps others throughout the world. We just want to say thank you again, Stacey. You had a wealth of information. And if you get a chance, stay in the studio when we're done. Thank you, and bless everyone for joining us and help us share and get this out. Blessings to all. We'll see you next Tuesday, every Tuesday at 10 a.m. with all our guests. Blessings to all. Thank you.
Thank you.